Right.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's webinar on free and paid tools to help you improve your digital marketing. Today we've got Matt. Matt, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everybody. I hope everybody's well. My name's Matt. Hopefully some of you know by now I've been working with Annika for a little while, and I specialise in PPC, but I've got quite good broad marketing and digital marketing knowledge, which hopefully you see from today with our free and paid tools session. We want everyone to build and improve on their digital strategy and digital marketing, and hopefully some of these tools today will do that for you.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're going to first start off with a poll, just so we can get a little bit of an idea. And I say it informs Matt's presentation, but he's written this beforehand, so it's either going to be good or bad. So I'll start the first poll. All being good. Everyone can see that. Oh, can you see it in yours, Matt?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Okay. So, do you currently use any free or paid tools? No, I don't see the point. No, but I plan to. No, I have in the past. Yes, I only use free tools. Yes, I only use paid tools. Yes, I use a mixture of free and paid tools. So already there's two standout ones, which is no, I plan to, and yes, I use a mixture of free and paid tools. So Matt, I think some people are attending this to get informed.
Absolutely.
To show them what tools to use, so that's good.
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, you're definitely in the right place. We've got a good mix of tools today that cover a good variety of channels, and of course, it's important to remember that in reality, every digital marketer has his own tool set essentially, and the tools that I've suggested in the webinar today, they're some of my favourite choices. Annika, as a business, we use a number of other tools as well, and we do highlight some of those at the very end of the presentation. But of course, there are there's hundreds, if not thousands, of digital marketing tools on the web. So these are just sort of cherry picked a few of my favourites and Annika's favourites too.
Okay, yeah. So I think that the voting slowed down now. So most people are using a mixture of free and paid, followed closely by no, but I plan to, and then in third place is I only use free tools. So again, that's people are using tools, but not paid. But after your webinar today, Matt, they might start thinking about using paid as well.
Absolutely. Let's hope we can help some people out.
Okay, and then the next poll. That's not gone up. That's not worked, is it?
No. Do you want me to give it a click for you?
Yeah, it should pop up. There you go.
There we go.
So how many free and paid tools do you currently use? So none, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 10 to 15, or 15 or more tools, a mixture of free and paid tools. I mean, as at Annika, we use way more than 15, but if you're in-house, you might only have a selection of 5 or 10.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think my dad's a joiner, and it's very safe to admit that when you're a professional in an industry and you have been for tens of years, you definitely have a tool for every single minute job you can even imagine. I think he's got about 25 different shapes of screwdriver, all for different types of screws and different angles that he needs to get to a screw from. So it's definitely fair to admit digital
and they can never find the right one either, can they?
No,
go buy another tool and like, oh, I found it now.
It's just when he asked me to pass him the correct tool. That's when
my dad's horrendous. He used to be a carpenter, and he's got this big toolbox, and it's got like every screw you can imagine, and he sort of has to take it all out, put it on the floor, just to find like 4 screws to put my TV up or whatever it is, because he's not organized, but he's got every nail, screw, tool you can think of, but they're everywhere. Okay, so this one's a little bit more mixed. So sort of most people are currently not using any tools. And then it's sort of a mixture from then on. 1 to 3 tools is sort of the second best answer. So people are using tools, but they're not using very many of them. One person is using 15 or more tools. And then there's a little bit of a mixture. So of 4 to 6, 7 to 10. So yeah, people, general gist, people are using them or not using them.
Yeah, well, that's
most insightful.
Hopefully we can help add a couple onto people's radars today that might be useful for their tool mix, so to speak. So
and then we've got a third one here. All being good, it will load up. Or am I having issues again?
No, absolutely.
No. You do your magic, Matt. And
okay, so the third and final poll for the day is: do you think it's worthwhile to pay for extra features? So the first answer is no, I don't have the budget. Then we've got no, I don't like paying for tools. Then we look for free alternatives. It depends on the cost. Yes, if I have a trial first. And then finally, yes, we only use paid tools.
there's a standout one, and it's the one that I thought about not putting in because it's so like, when someone asks you a question, you're like, well, it depends on the context. Yeah. It's one of them, isn't it? So most people are going for that answer. So most people are saying it depends on the cost, which is fair enough because some tools can cost thousands and some can cost 10, 20 quid a month or whatever it is. So it really varies, and it's what value you put on tools as well, isn't it? So but yeah, a lot of people saying that. A lot of people also said if they have to trial first, which is fair enough. You don't want to spend loads of money on a tool if you don't know how it works and if you like it. Whereas if you get a trial, you start finding it really useful, then you're probably more likely, aren't you, to pay for it?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, we've got a good mix of free and paid tools in the session today. So hopefully there's something for everybody in there.
I mean, no one said they don't like paying for tools. They just either there's a couple of answers there. They don't have the budget, which again is fair enough because some of the tools or you have the perception that all tools are really expensive. And the other one is we look for free alternatives, which is again you want to be savvy with your money, don't you? You don't want to spend it on tools if you can find free alternatives.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that gives you an idea of your audience, Matt, and what their view on tools are.
Yep, that's great. Thank you for answering all of those, everybody.
Okay, I'll go into the background and I'll go into the chat. I'll leave you to it, Matt.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's time to get cracking. So let's jump in at the deep end, everybody. So first, a little quick introduction. I know a majority of you potentially already know who I am, but my name's Matt. I'm a paid media strategist at Annika, and I've been working in digital marketing for about 10 years now, which sounds bonkers to say, but it is quite literally the entirety of my career has been in digital marketing. So beyond my very first job at Waitrose. So been working in marketing for years and years, and hopefully my advice today is going to be helpful for everybody. So a little bit about Annika. We set up in 2007. We've now got a crew of 27 people, all there primed and ready to work on digital marketing across the board. And we've got over 45 clients now. So we're supporting a number of businesses, and we support them with our no ego and no bull attitude as well. We get straight down and dirty with the facts of your digital presence and your digital marketing. And we are on a mission as well. Specifically, we have 4. And to celebrate our 15th birthday, we want to support all of your digital ambitions. So our specialisms span from B2B for construction, all the way through to trade with e-commerce as well. So we can support pretty much any business out there that does need help with their digital marketing. So it's quite exciting for us as a business. Hopefully that will be exciting for some of you as well. So what does our webinar today include? Quick agenda for everybody. So first up, we're going to talk very briefly around why you need or why you potentially need tools for your digital marketing. We're then going to have a look at some sort of more generic digital marketing tools that can help with your overarching strategy. We're then going to dive into some of the different channels and some more specific use tools. So we've got some Google Ads tools, we've got some social media tools. We've also got some SEO tools, some email marketing tools, and some web optimization tools. I notice it does say Google Ads tools in there twice, but I can assure you we don't have that many Google Ads tools. So first up, why do you need digital marketing tools? So first and foremost, because you don't have all the time in the world. So as digital marketers, it's very, very safe to say you wish you could do everything that you need to be doing, but you absolutely don't have time for that. So in reality, all these tools, in theory, in one way or another, are perfect for helping you save some time, helping you get to an answer to a question quicker, helping you resolve an issue with your strategy, something like that. They also help you get a competitive edge. So, in a lot of instances, we all have, competitors that are the same size as us, bigger than us, more niche than us, something like that. We can look at all of the different strategies that can help us beat that competition, which, really, really important for us as digital marketers. Also, to simplify your digital marketing processes, sometimes you just want to speed up the things that you're doing. And a lot of these tools can help do that. To be able to track, report on, and improve your digital marketing efforts. So very, very important as digital marketers to be able to, track, report on, and then use that information that we've tracked and reported on to then improve our efforts moving forward. And then finally, to take your digital marketing to the next level. So in the same vein as our previous point, how can we up our game? How can we improve our businesses? A number of these tools will also help with that. So let's dive straight into our list of tools. So first up, we have our generic digital marketing tools. The first on the list, and probably rightfully so, in my opinion, is Google Analytics. So you can see the dashboard for Google Analytics here, and we've also, throughout the entire presentation, you will be able to download the document after via the handouts, but we do have a link to all of these different tools as well, so everyone has the opportunity to take a look at the tools and work out if it's something that they'd like to implement. So Google Analytics. What are the pros and cons of Google Analytics? So first up, Google Analytics is completely free to install and use. Straight off the bat, a fantastic benefit. It also helps you monitor your traffic over time, as well as real-time users. So not only can you see all of the data of all of the users that have been to the site and how they've interacted with the site, but you can also see exactly what's going on your site at any moment. You can discover a wealth of information about your users' behavior, about demographics. There is a bit in the news recently about demographical targeting and things like that. So maybe watch this space on demographical targeting with regards to the ability to view and utilize that information. But you can also see your users' journeys as well through your site. And therefore, it can be quite helpful to diagnose any issues that you have with your site. And finally, it enables you to track goals and even revenue for your business as well if you sell products online. One of the downsides, one of the cons of Google Analytics. First up, data can't be backdated. So the moment that you put your Google Analytics tracking code on your website, that's the moment from which you will be tracking the information for your site and the users on that site. Prior to that, if you didn't have the tracking installed, sadly, that information won't be backdated. So it would be from that point that you installed the tracking yourself. The platform has so much data that it can be quite overwhelming for beginners. Google Analytics has a wealth of information. It has so much fantastic information, but boy, can that make it tricky to look at and find your way around. So just something to bear in mind if you are introducing Google Analytics to your business. And finally, tracking can easily break, in quote marks, if you alter your website. So definitely something, if you're brand new to Google Analytics, something to bear in mind. Sometimes if you alter your website, it's a good idea to double check that Google Analytics tracking is still working on there thereafter. And finally, a top tip from Annika's tool tips. We've got a tool tip for every tool today. Hopefully you find some of them useful. So Google Analytics can offer a wealth of information, not just about demographics and user behavior, but also which users have taken an action that you deem as vital for your business. So for those of you that use analytics but haven't started tracking some of these vital business actions as yet, quite literally, all you need to do is click on the admin panel in the bottom left, and then look for the goals option, which you'll find somewhere over on the right hand side of the screen once you're in the admin. From here, you can track when users fill in a form. You can, in theory, track when users have clicked on a phone number from their mobile phone, for example. Very, very exciting. You can track all of those valuable actions that you find helpful to understand, are your users of your website converting in the manner that you would hope. So moving on to our next generic tool. So CallRail, a personal favorite of mine. It's not necessarily the tool that Annika uses for some of its clients, but I personally have enjoyed using this tool historically. And this is a call tracking piece of software. So what is call tracking? First and foremost, essentially call tracking is the practice of being able to track when a user has called your business and being able to track that action back to the original campaign or the original piece of marketing that drove that user to your website in the first place. So what are the pros of CallRail, but call tracking in general as well? So it enables businesses to track exactly which channels, campaigns, keywords, or creative led to a phone call. So that can be very, very insightful. In reality, as marketers, we want to know, did Google Ads cause that person to call the business in the first place? Or was it something entirely different? Was it, a social media campaign that we've run? Secondly, apologies, my watch decided to talk to me. Secondly, used correctly, the tool can help you establish the ROI of your channels even better. So a lot of these call tracking tools have additional functionality that can help you track the revenue that's generated by campaigns via the phone, which I'll talk about more in just a second. You can also, it can help you track calls generated by offline marketing as well. So actually a lot of these call tracking tools give you the ability to generate a phone number or a number of phone numbers that can go onto offline marketing initiatives, on business cards, or even as far as on a billboard. It could help you out, and then you'll know which users called based on the marketing that you've done in either of those instances. So very, very powerful tools. The downsides, the cons of call tracking, is that trackable numbers can possibly cause confusion for some of your website visitors. So in reality, the way that call tracking works is that it dynamically alters the number very slightly on your website, so that when a user calls up, it then uses that dynamic number to track the actions of that user back to the original campaign that they visited the site from. Now, obviously, if people are familiar with your business, if they're familiar with your phone number, that might confuse some users. So it is important to bear that in mind. And in a lot of instances, so Specifically in CallRail's instance, there is only a 14-day free trial, and it would be paid for thereafter. However, it depends how you look at that as to whether it's a pro or con. I think in reality, 14 days isn't all that long a period of time to get to grips with a tool that can be as insightful and gather as much information as this. But for some businesses, you rely on smaller volumes of calls. So a 14-day free trial might not give you a volume of calls that means you can make a decision on whether the tool is as helpful or not. So Annika's tool tip in this instance for call tracking. Does your business operate by generating leads through your website rather than selling products to the end consumer? So for those businesses that rely on, forms being filled in, again, the calls being generated to a business phone number rather than you selling those products directly online. Call tracking can help you understand the ROI of your marketing by tracking the revenue of each customer from end to end. So a majority of these call tracking tools have functionality built into them so that if someone visits your website and then calls your business phone number via the call tracking number, you then have the ability within the tool to track the amount of revenue that was generated from that call. That revenue can then be pushed back into your Google Analytics account, your Google Ads account, and you can track your ROI in that manner. CallRail do actually discuss this topic in a little bit more detail as well. So I have provided a link for you within the document that hopefully is insightful for those of you that do want to look at call tracking a little bit further. And our third tool is SimilarWeb. Now, SimilarWeb is actually a personal favorite of mine. I think if I had to highlight my favorite tool from the entirety of this presentation, this would be it. That's what SimilarWeb looks like. Thank you, Jordan, for the link to SimilarWeb in the chat. But in reality, SimilarWeb, the reason SimilarWeb is one of my favorites is based on the context of competitor research and competitor analysis. So I feel as though in that arena, SimilarWeb has a ton of information to offer and a ton of useful features that help us understand, as we can see from the first pro there. They have fantastic insights into the channels that your competitors are using and the traffic levels that they're receiving from those channels as well. So very, very insightful as a business owner or as a digital marketer to be able to find out what your competitors are currently doing and therefore which channels might work best for yourselves as well. So being able to see that via this tool is very, very helpful. It also enables thorough research into any industry. So essentially you can see all the industries that SimilarWeb offers as standard, but you can also create your own custom industries, which we touch on in a moment. And it also allows you to benchmark your business against your competitors. So what are you doing differently versus the average of your competition? This tool can help you understand that and maybe alter your strategy and or try a new strategy if you see fit. The cons of SimilarWeb is that although there are some free features, there is some free functionality, you do have to pay for the best data. And in actual fact, that does mean it may be too expensive for some small businesses because the tool does definitely start from around £1,000 a month, which, it definitely is one of the tools that's on the more expensive end of our free and paid tools for digital marketing webinar today. And then finally, the data can be a little bit inaccurate for smaller businesses as well. So in theory, the high price point does correlate with the size of business that SimilarWeb maybe expect to get involved and use the tool. But it's definitely still worth considering if you are, at that point where you're getting more than 5,000 visitors to your site a month, and you're interested in finding out how your competitors are currently performing and what channels they're using. And Annika's top tip. So definitely try before you buy. and use the free functionality. I think that would be the best piece of advice that we could give you today. Is for any of these tools where you have the ability and the option to use some free functionality to get a free trial, definitely go ahead and do that, because some of these tools you might find more helpful than you even imagined. Although SimilarWeb is on the more expensive side of the tools list, the insights that it can offer are thorough and extensive. And it does come with some pre-built industries for you to have a look at, analyze and compare. But the best feature that I deem SimilarWeb to have is that you are able to build your own custom industries. So in theory, within each industry, you might find that you have some competitors that are direct competitors that are the same shape and size and style business as you, and you want to only compare to those rather than, let's use Amazon as an example. Amazon compete in a huge variety of industries, but sometimes Amazon is such an unfair comparison with some smaller niche businesses. You are actually able to remove sites like Amazon from your comparisons and just compare your business with all the businesses that are, of a similar size, or the truly aspirational businesses for yourselves. So I think that the ability to do that is something that a number of other tools don't have, and therefore that's why it can be very helpful. So next up, we have our Google Ads tools. So the first on this list is the Google Keyword Planner. Thank you again for posting all the links as we go, Jordan, too. In terms of the pros and cons of the Keyword Planner, so I imagine a number of you have heard of Google's Keyword Planner. If you haven't, I would definitely advise, especially if you have a Google Ads account already, to check it out via the link that Jordan has just provided. But essentially, the Keyword Planner enables you to build lists or discover information about keywords, keyword volumes, so what search volumes are available for a particular keyword, as well as the 12-month trend. Some businesses have huge peaks and troughs throughout the year with regards to when they're able to sell more volume of their products, for example. So one thing that Keyword Planner can help you do is understand when those peaks and troughs are with particular search terms. And as also mentioned, topics.semonitor.com, also another great tool that can give you similar bits of information with regards to keyword topics and trends. It also offers data on average cost per clicks, the Keyword Planner. And therefore, if you are thinking about running Google Ads, if you're thinking about getting moving with a paid Google strategy, then having the access to average cost per click data is very, very helpful. It can also help you build ad groups that you can then move across into Google Ads as well. So it can save you some time when setting up a Google Ads campaign. And then finally, the data is also easy to export and utilize in things like Google Sheets or also Excel as well. So if you want to extract all of this data to have a look at offline, let's say you're traveling on the train, for example, you can pull all this data from Google Keyword Planner and then have a look at it in Excel later. So very, very helpful part of the tool. It does not, however, on our cons list over here, it does not offer any support with your negative keyword lists. So yes, you can build a huge list of keywords for your Google Ads account, but it does not really offer any support with what negative keywords you should be using. That is something you'd have to find out yourselves from your search term reports in Google Ads. And also, when searching for new keyword ideas, the suggestions can sometimes be a little bit wild. What I mean by that is sometimes the suggestions that you have given to you can be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of search volume per month. And some of them are quite generic terms as well, that in reality aren't necessarily those highly conversional terms that we'd look to use from a Google Ads point of view. Excuse me, my apologies. So moving on to Annika's top tool tip. Have you ever wondered what keywords that you could bid on that your competitors are currently using or may also be using? Well, the Google Keyword Planner is something that can help with that. So quite literally, all you need to do is when you open the Google Keyword Planner, click on Discover New Keywords and then click on Start with a Website. You then put in your competitor's website URL. Sounds a little cheeky, I know, but it can be a fantastic way of discovering what's going on. So after that point, once you've clicked search, once you've put your website URL in, so you can see in the image on the right there, I've used Amazon as an example in this instance. You'll then need to click on filter, click keyword, and then click does not contain and enter your competitor's brand term. And then quite literally, as if by magic, you have a list of all of the non-branded keywords that your competitor is likely to be ranking for and or using as part of their strategy. So very, very powerful way to use this completely free tool that Google has to offer. Next up is PPC Protect. Now, I imagine a number of you have heard of PPC click fraud protection before, but for those of you that haven't, essentially the idea is that click fraud is a very real thing, and there are some businesses that struggle with, sometimes competitors, but quite often bot traffic that will click on Google Ads, and it'll cost you money. It'll charge you. Obviously, the idea of the Google Ads platform is that it's CPC, it's cost per click. So every time your ad is clicked by someone that isn't a legitimate visitor for your website, a legitimate potential to do business, you'll get charged for it regardless. Google does have a very, very small amount of protection that it offers, but I'd edge my bets. In fact, from using the tool, we can discover that in reality, Google's own protection is nowhere near as thorough as businesses like PPC Protect offer. So what are the pros and cons of PPC Protect and of PPC click protection in general? So it measures just how many clicks your ads receive that are fraudulent or that you're receiving in a fraudulent manner. And it actually tracks that number for you. And sometimes, you can find that it's astonishing just how many there are. It also has, or a majority of them have the functionality to automatically block IP addresses for you. So if you are receiving a large volume of clicks, all from the same IP address every single day, the tool offers the ability to integrate with Google Ads and block those IP addresses for you. And within a majority of these tools now, there are beta tests available as well. For some businesses, it might be a good idea. A cheeky idea might be to simply sign up for the tool and ask to be added as a beta tester for these elements. But some of these tools are testing out social media click protection as well now, which, again, click fraud happens across social media too. And therefore, the tool could help protect you in that instance as well. The downsides, sadly, after your 30-day trial, the cost of the platform can sometimes outweigh the amount saved on those clicks each month. But I would, again, based on the fact there's a free trial, I'd encourage you all to give these bits of software a test and see how you get on with them. Because in reality, you might find in that first month it's been extremely effective for you. And you'd then understand the benefits a little bit more. And also, you do find sometimes, due to cost per click fluctuations, the amount that you save can dramatically vary. And fantastic stat in the chat for everybody just there. Approximately 11% of clicks are fraud. So if you think about what you spend on Google Ads a day, some businesses spend hundreds, if not, thousands of pounds. 11% of that cost, in theory, could be going to waste and could be saved with a tool such as PPC Protect. And so what's Annika's tool tip in this instance? Using PPC click fraud software, is a tip in itself. Definitely test out the tool. I know I've already said this, but I'm going to keep coming back around to it. You do need to test these tools out, test these bits of software out. Just give them a try and see what you think to them. I think in reality, you will find there is so much benefit from having tested these tools out, and who knows, you might even want to sign up consistently for a number of these tools. Maybe today, something that some of you may take away from this this presentation, this webinar, is that there are some tools, even though they're paid for, that are fantastic value for money still. So moving on to our social media tools. The first up, and probably my personal favorite in the social media section, is the Facebook ad library. So what is the Facebook ad library? Essentially, the Facebook ad library allows you to search for your competitors, and it enables you to view what ads are currently being used by your competitors. You can quite literally, with the Facebook ad library, search for your competitors' pages by name and see the ads that are currently running. You can also use the tool to research all ads that are in a particular industry. And you can do that by searching for a keyword or a topic as well on the tool. So it's absolutely so insightful. And if you can't find a competitor that's currently running ads, that is not to say that there isn't people within your industry, businesses within your industry, that you could find via searching for a keyword or a topic that do currently run ads. And you can see basic campaign information as well, such as the creative, the image that's being used, and also the campaign type as well. So what are your competitors doing? What type of ads are they running? What do they look like? It's all information that can be deemed from this tool. But what are the cons? The tool only allows you to see current live ads. So the results are a little bit limited in that respect. In reality, it'd be really helpful if this tool could show us, any historical ads that our competitors have been running, but sadly that's not the case. So I think the best thing to do would be use the tool consistently and check very often, or as often as you can, to see what your competitors are doing. And it also doesn't offer insights into whether campaigns are actually working as well. So it doesn't offer any information around impressions or clicks. So actually, there's no guarantee that any of the creatives that you see your competitors using are actually generating a return on investment for them, or actually helping them build their business further. You'd like to make an assumption that they are, but in actual fact, sometimes you do have to take the creative and the elements that you're seeing there in the Facebook ad library with a pinch of salt. And maybe it does make some sense to do your own testing of different creatives rather than quite literally taking a look at what your competitors are doing and doing something similar. So what is Annika's tool tip for the Facebook ad library? The Facebook ad library is a fantastic tool for monitoring your competitors and what they're doing with their adverts. What you can do is you can monitor the ads that your competitors have running, and you can find out what sort of promotions they're running. So something else to think about with the Facebook ad library is that you are able to see exactly what your competitors are using in terms of their creative. Sometimes that creative can include information about an offer, 10% off, 20% off, for example, for some businesses would be a great example. If your competitors are consistently using Facebook and Instagram, well, Facebook Meta, as it's known now, sometimes they are using posts on these platforms to push offers. If they're doing that consistently, there is a good chance that they're seeing value from doing so, and therefore it may be worth considering giving that a go as well and see if it has the same results for yourselves. And Up next is Canva. Now, Canva, I appreciate for some, seems like a bit of a wild card if you do use Canva and do know Canva. However, Canva has hit our social media tools section based on the fact that it offers so many opportunities to build and design creative for your social, organic social, as well as social ads. And it enables you to do them, one, yourselves, without potentially the need for a creative agency. It does have fantastic features. But two, it's also based on the fact that it offers templates and other helpful bits and bobs that can help you build those ads too. So what are the pros and cons of Canva? First up, there is a free subscription available. And it's therefore a very, very accessible tool. I think a lot of businesses would find it extremely useful to be able to generate some of their own ads and build some of their own ads. And it's actually quite an easy tool to use as well. Excuse me. Which for a lot of businesses, a lot of people that aren't necessarily quite as creative, that does include myself. I find Canva quite a useful tool because it helps with that creative element. There are paid for subscriptions that allow you to share templates with clients. So, for an agency like ourselves, we're able to share templates with clients that who can then use those templates to build some of their own creatives as well. So it's not just a one-stop shop in terms of you build an image and away you go. You can build the templates, and then in theory, as clients, you can add those elements in yourselves. You can edit those elements, and it sets you up very nicely moving forward for all your social media ads. It has a huge number of templates built in to help design posts for most of the different social media platforms. So you will find that a majority of social platforms have particular ad sizes and different ad sizes, different ad requirements. And in reality, sometimes making sure those different sizes are there and can fit on all the different social platforms is quite tricky to do. This tool can help with exactly that. And it also offers creation of GIFs and short videos now as well. So very, very powerful tool. Kim, very good point in the chat there, actually. Interestingly, I suppose in a lot of instances, digital marketers and digital agencies, we do need to find ways that we can support with this creative still as well. In reality, the ability to build and design an ad yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you have that creative eye, and I think that's what graphic design and creative departments still offer in all these instances. Having that creative eye, I think, without a doubt, personally, I would much prefer the input of the designers here at Annika rather than trying to design things myself, because they have that edge, they have that eye for what looks good and what's right for each client and each brand as well. So some of the cons of Canva: many stock images, graphics, and templates are only accessible with a paid account. But again, in the instance that there is a free subscription available, I would definitely still check it out. In terms of the app functionality, it's not quite as good as the web version. I think the web version of the tool is what a majority of people would turn to. However, being able to use the app offline is not quite as easy, which means that you do have to do this, sat at your desktop when you've got a good quality internet connection. And finally, it's fairly limited in terms of its photo retouching options. There are some fantastic tools out there. Photoshop, for example, is one that do help with photo retouching and are fantastic to do so. You also, Anna's mentioned, Adobe tools. Adobe photo editing tools are amazing for that type of thing, whereas Canva is quite limited in that instance. So Annika's tooltip: Canva can transform a simple post in a matter of minutes once you've learned to use the tool, of course, and it can make it look like it's been designed by a professional. So for a lot of small businesses, the fact that there is a free option for this tool as well it can change the post that you put onto Facebook or onto Instagram dramatically, so much so that they look extremely professional. It's also got a pretty simple drag and drop interface. So I think, ironically, I'm seeing a trend here with our tool tips, but I think the main tip here for Canva is definitely give it a try and check out what it can offer for your business. Tool number 8 is Sprout Social. So Sprout Social is essentially a tool that is first and foremost fantastic for social listening. So it enables you to keep track of all of your business's social mentions. If you ever wondered what people are posting about your business, saying on social media, Sprout Social can definitely offer some insights into that. It's also got a very, very easy to navigate user interface. And that user interface, that easy to use interface, not only helps with gathering information and doing social listening, but it also helps with scheduling content in advance as well. So if you don't have all that much time when it comes to social media and being able to post daily or every other day or however often is right for your industry and your business, being able to set these up in advance with something like Sprout Social is very handy. The pricing in Sprout Social's instance, that's not to say there aren't other social media tools that can help with social listening, but the pricing of Sprout Social can be a little bit high for some small businesses. And support can actually sometimes be a little on the slow side. Pretty interesting downside to this tool. First time that we've seen, the downside being the support that comes along with the tool. With that said, the support does tend to be very high quality. And finally, there is some limited data and connectivity for some platforms. So LinkedIn is one platform that I believe Sprout Social struggles with the connectivity for. So what's Annika's tool tip for Sprout Social? Where possible, you do need access to the logins of all the social accounts to get all the data. So agencies, for example, sometimes that's something that we struggle with a little bit, having access to all of the different logins. But for a brand, that makes it absolutely fantastic, because assuming that you have access to all of your different social media platforms as a business or a brand, this tool can definitely help in that instance. It can also take a few days to collect all of the data. So definitely leave yourself at least a week before running an audit. And finally, don't expect as much information from LinkedIn. As I already mentioned, their API connectivity is quite limited. And it does require an API connectivity in some instances. So definitely bear with it in terms of the connectivity of the tool, but there are some fantastic insights that can be gleaned from Sprout Social. So moving on to our SEO tools, I've noticed the time as well. So we are going to shoot through a few of these last ones. We've got 4 left to go through. So first up is Google Search Console. So Google Search Console essentially is another location that gathers all of your, or a huge amount of stats with regards to your website's performance and the organic, your Google organic performance as well. So it's got data about your site's performance, but that data is directly from Google. I've put in brackets, hint, hint. In reality, it can be super helpful to have that information directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So it's information that's given by Google that maybe we should pay attention to. So fantastic pro of the tool. It also allows access to backdated data. So for those of you that haven't heard of Search Console before, do not fear. All you need to do is go onto the tool and claim your website. And actually, the tool will backdate the data for you and give you access to all of the historical data. So I wouldn't like Google Analytics. It does hold a lot of that information for you. And finally, it's a great tool to help understand what searches are driving traffic to your website organically. So can be very insightful, and can also help you build a Google Ads strategy as well, because it can help you discover which keywords are driving traffic to your site. The downsides: position ranking data can be tricky to utilize, specifically as an average if you are a larger website or own a larger website. So, you get an average ranking for all of the search terms that people have been using to find your business and your website. The ranking data can therefore, if you have thousands and thousands of keywords, the ranking data as an average can be quite misleading. And sometimes you have to refine that data quite a lot to find the most useful elements. The tool can also be difficult to navigate and understand for beginners. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic point in the chat as well. It is a free tool, and it's another one of those tools that is well worth checking out. So, Annika's tooltip. Through Google Search Console, you're able to discover the search terms that people have used to discover your website, as well as your current Google ranking for those terms. But when you make a change to your website, this is something that's quite important, actually. When you make a change to your website, it's quite important to make a note of that. In reality, whenever we make a change to our website, it's either one from a brand or a business point of view, but the other reason would be because we're trying to improve the performance of our website. Now, assuming you've made a change based on trying to improve your website's performance, it would be important to make a note of the date that you made those changes, because you're then able to use Google Search Console to work out if that change has had a positive impact on your traffic and on your rankings or not. Also, make sure that you receive Google Search Console's reports. So these come across monthly, and they give you information about your top 3 landing pages, and which searches people have been clicking and searching for that have shown results for your website as well. So those monthly emails can be very, very helpful, and I believe you can subscribe to those from within your Google Search Console account. And finally, also have a look at Bing Webmaster Tools as well. This is Bing or Microsoft's version of the same tool, essentially. There are definitely differences between the two, don't get me wrong, but they all offer very similar information. Thank you, Anne, for the link. So number 10 is Ahrefs. Ahrefs is another fantastic SEO tool. It has tons and tons and tons, huge amounts of features, and what we've called mini tools, essentially. It has so many different elements within that tool that can help you discover information about your business. And it also has the largest database of websites and competitor websites, and also of backlink data as well. So in terms of determining how many backlinks you currently have, how many backlinks your competitors have, it has the biggest amount of information available. The cost of the tool as well, for large businesses and even some smaller businesses, I would say, is extremely affordable. So it's only £150 a month, which I know to some people that don't like to pay for tools will seem like quite a high amount. However, the amount of information that this tool can offer is definitely well worth that price. But I have mentioned in the cons as well, ironically, this is the one that crosses over the most. One of the cons of the tool is that for very small or new businesses, £150 a month might be quite a lot. So definitely, give it some thought. Have a look at some further information about the features of the tool, what it can offer, because we definitely find it useful here at Annika. And it also makes reporting quite tricky, because the tool doesn't offer third-party integrations quite as easily. So for any of you that use Data Studio, for example, for any of your reporting, it's not very good at integrating with Data Studio, or doesn't integrate with Data Studio well at all, based on the fact that it requires an API integration. So Annika's tooltip here is that it's a fantastic tool when monitoring how your website performs, the keywords your website ranks for, and what backlinks you've received. The best tip we can possibly offer is that one of the biggest initiatives in SEO, as things stand, is the ability to track the number of backlinks you have and the ones that your competitors have. So you can use Ahrefs to have a look at all of your competitors' backlinks and see exactly how many they've got, and potentially even look at replicating some of those backlinks. Fantastic SEO initiative. And now we have one email marketing tool for you. I noticed Jordan's popped up, which means we're getting very near the end of the session now. We have Mailchimp. Now, I would imagine that a number of you, if not a majority of you, have heard of Mailchimp at this stage. So we're not gonna hang on this one. Mailchimp has actually been posting TV adverts recently as well, which I thought was fantastic. It means clearly the tool is doing the job for a hell of a lot of businesses. Mailchimp has some fantastic drag and drop functionality, which means it's really easy to build emails with. I'd also, it's highly recommended by a huge number of businesses. I'd also say that, a majority of businesses potentially use Mailchimp, especially smaller businesses, because of how easy it is to use, and also the fantastic audience segmentation and automation features it offers. It does have a free version. The free version is quite limited. It only lets you grow your list of contacts so far, but that's a small price to pay for having a free trial still. Mailchimp's a great way to communicate with customers, to let people know about your latest offers that your brand has. Definitely give Mailchimp a go for free. And apologies, Anne, it seems Mailchimp is free for up to 4,000 contacts. So my information source was not quite on point there. However, you can use A/B testing as well. So definitely give A/B testing a go within Mailchimp. It enables you to start to discover which types of creative and which types of email drive the highest traffic to your website. And finally, we have a web optimization tool that is a personal favorite of mine called GTmetrix. Hopefully Jordan can put the link in there for you, for those of you that haven't heard of it. But essentially, GTmetrix enables you the ability to scan your website and find out issues with website speed. And it also provides actionable insights for improvement for your website as well. And therefore, it can help improve your website's performance. It can help you visualize the speed of your website. It shows you the loading of your website second by second, and therefore you can spot where any of those issues exist with the website loading speed. One of Google's most recent initiatives with its ranking algorithms is the speed of your website. And therefore, having a fast website using a tool like GTmetrix can help you discover if that's not the case. The video view tool also allows you to see your website as it loads on different devices. Oopsie daisy, I've skipped ahead too quick there. There is a free version of GTmetrix, so definitely give it a go again. But it does have some limitations, such as the country by which it views your website from. And there's also a hell of a lot of information. So definitely might be a bit much for beginners. And the Annika tooltip is that there are a lot of other free URL testers. Definitely give a few of them a try. You'll find a number of them on the A10 marketing framework information. And then what other free tools are there? So a ton of free tools. Data Studio, which helps dramatically with reporting and can help you visualize your reporting. Topics.seomonitor.com for keyword research. Answer the Public, which is also a key phrase generator. And then we've got some other paid tools as well, such as OneCrawl, DeepCrawl, and Moz for SEO audits and helping out with your SEO. We've got things like Bright Local, which is super, super fantastic when it comes to local SEO. And finally, Supermetrics as well, which is a connector for Drive and Data Studio to help you even further with your reporting initiatives. Some of the tools on there that I've not had time to give a mention to, but they're all fantastic tools to use as part of your strategy. And thank you very much. Thank you for listening today, everybody. I appreciate we plowed on through that last minute, but hopefully some helpful and super helpful insights and tools for you to all take away with today.
Thanks, Matt. So yeah, before you all run off, we're trying to get in some last minute survey answers from companies so that we can publish the Annika survey. Once we sort of get I think it was 100 we were looking for, 100 survey responses, we can then send you across the free sort of report for it and all the data we've got. And also you can win a £100 voucher and a free day of training as well for doing it. So here's the link to do that survey now, appearing on your screen. Also, there's a link for reviews. So you can give Matt your opinion on his webinar and if you found it useful or not.
That would be fantastic. We always appreciate feedback. It helps us as a business improve on what we're doing and helps us, build these webinars moving forward so they're even more insightful for everybody. So any reviews would be massively appreciated.
I think that's about it in terms of, if you can just do that survey, that would be fantastic and it would help us out. And there's also, if you don't want to do it on Review.io or you want to give us some more reviews on Google, then do it there because we haven't got too many on Google. We've got most of them reviews.
Absolutely. Feel free to post on both if you enjoyed the webinar that much today. Cracking.